It is Friday, November 1st. There are 4 days left. This is the final weekend of a momentous presidential election that is quickly drawing to a close, though the choice is as clear as a choice can be.
This is the warning.
Kamala Harris is an unlikely Democratic nominee. It's not how the race started out this year. I was someone who was very vocal that Joe Biden should run for one term. I was very vocal that he should get out of the race. When he did, enthusiasm, joy, a great sense of relief swept over the Democratic Party and all of the country. Kamala Harris had a tremendous amount of momentum in July and August and September. And then there were hard days in October. But none of that matters, because at the core, what truly matters is a belief. And that belief is anchored in the ideas and the ideals of the country. Donald Trump simply does not believe in Americanism. He does not believe in the animating spirit that we're all created equal. He doesn't believe that the American people should be free, their choices, their bodies, their lives, and that includes who leads us. This is the 60th time the American people have gone to the voting booth and picked a president. 59 times there was a peaceful transition of power. After death, after assassination, after loss, after heated elections, nobody ever did what Donald Trump did. And what he did was try to burn the Constitution to ashes by seizing power against the will of the people. He sent an armed mob to desecrate the United States Capitol and to overthrow the government. He is surrounded by a vile group of people. They're not just eccentric and strange, though many of them are. They are criminal and they are violent. And they have made clear what they plan to do to the country and to everybody in it who dares to oppose them. They have promised vengeance to Americans who had the nerve to say no to Donald Trump. They have promised revenge for his political enemies. Some of them have talked about killing their fellow Americans. Donald Trump was one of the most inept presidents in American history, one of the most incompetent, and absolutely one of the most corrupt. He was a taker without compare. And he views the White House as a license to take, a license to steal, a license to rape, if you will. He is unworthy of the office. And the country is better than him and the people that he has surrounded himself with. Every single vote matters. Now's the time. Get your kids to the polls. Get your parents to the polls. Get every person who's a Kamala Harris voter to execute the idea that's in their heart to an action, to a vote. Send a message. Say something that is necessary to say in this moment. Say no to the despotism, to the cruelty, to the insanity, to the grievance, to the weakness, to the patheticness of this man. Listen to him.
Our country we're riddled with crime. Every city, you take a look at it, it's falling apart. They smell, they're dirty.
Listen to Tucker Carlson.
And people know in a country that's been taken over by a leadership class that actually despises them and their values and their history and their culture and their customs, really hates them to the point that it's trying to replace them.
Listen to these people.
The cartels are gone. The criminal migrants are gone. The gangs are gone. America is for Americans and Americans only.
This is Hitler language. And it's part of the reason why extremist Nazi groups in this exact moment online are celebrating, cheering on Trump. It's an uncomfortable thing to do, to talk about, to call the Republican candidate for president a fascist. But that's what he is. And pretending he's not is as deluded as it is dangerous. There is a final weekend of calm before a storm hits. Should Donald Trump win the election, it will not mean that we surrender our rights to a man who wants to be a dictator. Because in America, our rights are not Trump granted, they're God-given. And should he win, they will be asserted. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, the right to dissent will not go gently into that good night. Let us pray that that does not happen. Let us hope that Kamala Harris wins decisively. But prepare for this and talk about it this weekend. Because sometime, without any basis whatsoever, it is necessary to be prepared for Donald Trump to come forward and to proclaim victory out of the ether, to assert he is president-elect without the votes. It will be a power move. A first mover advantage is how Trump will see it. The idea that possession is 9/10 of the law. But that's not how it works. In the moment where the country should come together in the aftermath of an election with deep gratitude for the peaceful renewal of the spirit of the American Revolution, this idea that we, the people, will decide our destiny, Donald Trump will deny a reality and seek to take what is not his from people he has no right to take it from. And in that moment, there is no avoiding the great crisis that will be at hand. It's coming. It's coming because Donald Trump will not concede the election. This is a weekend before the storm. And all of us as citizens will have to look at what's ahead and make judgments. Let's hope that the overwhelming majority of Americans will not get behind a fantastical effort and violent extremists who seek to overturn an election they lost, that they told us in advance that that was precisely what they would do if they lost. It's un-American, it's outrageous, it's criminal, and it should be very much on the minds of every American this weekend, because our vote is our right to control the destiny of this country. And no, Donald Trump has no damn right to try to take it from any American, because it was not his to give. It is not his to take. On Tuesday, let us pray that decency prevails and that a fit and sane and patriotic woman beats a mentally ill, fascist, rapist, and criminal who is unfit beyond any ability of mine to describe beyond what has already been said over and over and over again. As you head into this final weekend, let's let Donald Trump have the last word. Listen carefully to what he is trying to tell you.
I think CBS should lose its license, but I think ABC should lose its license also because of what they've done. Any Catholic that votes for her should immediately have your head examined. The migrants have literally taken over the beds. They've taken over the schools. They've taken over your son has a seat in school, and he no longer has it because a migrant is they're giving him, actually, they're saying, you go first, the migrants go first. Nothing is more dangerous than to give immense power to a weak and not very smart person, just not a smart person.
He means it. He keeps saying it. And it's our last chance to stop him the easy way. Should he become the president, we will face catastrophe in America. Catastrophe does not mean the end of the republic. It just means pain and death and injustice and misery. Early indicators of what happens if Trump wins. There will be thousands of capitulations made out of fear, like the one Bezos made, destroying the integrity of the Washington Post along with it. This will be, in a sense, a last weekend in America before what comes next. Be ready for it. Be on guard for it. And be an American through it. Free people do not get on their knees for a man like Donald Trump. And if they ever do, what will follow is disaster. And it will be earned. This is the warning. The final weekend is here. Make a phone call. Knock on a door. Get out the vote. Your country depends on it. And you, and all the good Americans out there who will put an end to the insanity that has dominated our land for far too long.
I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning, and I invite you to subscribe on our Substack, on our YouTube channel. Follow us. Welcome to the community.